How's it going, people? Hope you're well. Welcome back to Football's 12 Man podcast. I've got the gang back with me to discuss all around the Premier League roundup. But of course, we can't start anywhere other than the breaking news around this morning that Thomas Tuchel has been sacked by Chelsea. And it looks like there's a couple of managers on their lists, one of which will not make one of our panelists very happy indeed. Let's welcome the guests. We've got Billy back. We've got Dan back from Southampton. We've got Maz from Brighton, who's got a packet of Kleenex next to him to cry into. And of course, we've got D from Palace. How you doing, boys?
All good, mate. Yourself?
Man, I'm all good, man. I'm all good. I've got over my weekend of crying for our first loss. It's hard being top of the league still, but we'll take it. Well, I'm just about getting over it from now, and we'll move on from Arsenal. But we have to go into this Thomas Tuchel thing, man. I've got to start with you, Maz, because obviously the rumor is that they're going to be talking to your boss and they fancy a little bit of Graham Potter. But before we go into that properly, I just want to get your kind of first reactions to the sacking of Tuchel, because I can't lie, bro, I was shocked by it. I know it's been poor, I know it's been bad, but when you spend that much money or allowed to spend that much money and things go, let's be honest, not horrendously bad, but not great. And then when you lose to Zagreb, it's like, that's it. Why is it that's it? It's the first game of the Champions League for them. They've still got 5 to go. They're not exactly in a shocking position in the league, albeit they're not where they want to be. But does it really deserve a sacking? I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, bro. What do you think, Maz?
Yeah, no, for me, it was a massive shock. When I saw it this morning, I was proper shocked because I thought, poor result last night. But then I watched his post-match press conference after the Zagreb defeat, and the way he was talking, he seemed defeated. He was talking about how, like, because the interview was like, oh, how do you improve from this? How do you bounce back? And he was like, I don't know. Like, he seemed like he's out of answers, which is worrying when you hear your manager talk like that. I think that was a big key sort of indicator. However, in saying that, the guy spent 200 million in the transfer window. Like you said, just one pretty bad loss against Zagreb, but then not done too badly in the league. So yeah, it definitely, I think it came a big shock. And also as well, from Ted Bowley taking over as well, you thought maybe he's a bit more patient. Abramovich was classically just sacking people left, right, centre. You thought maybe Bowley would be a bit different, but it looks like he's exactly the same. If results aren't going their way. And I think he talked about, he wants it to be his direction now. I think in the parting letter, they want to take the club into a new direction. So whatever that means is yet to be seen. Well, obviously, Graham Potter looks like, but it's a very interesting one. I was very shocked. I didn't really understand it. I think the guy who won you the Champions League 18 months ago has just been sacked after a couple of bad games, so to speak. So yeah, it's a weird one. It's a cutthroat world. It's a cold world we live in, as Future would say. But yeah, man, it's a very weird one. I'm left a bit confused, to be honest.
Yeah, I think most people are, man. D, I'll come to you, bro, because this guy's won pretty much the Club World Cup, Super Cup, and the Champions League. He's got to the finals of the FA Cup twice, I think, and the League Cup as well. I think he's got to the final or won every competition he's entered in the last 18 months. And Chelsea have sacked him after a Zagreb result. There seems to be more to this for me. Like, is Todd Bowley just doing a madness and saying, look, you think Roma was ruthless? I'm going to be as ruthless as him. I'm going to spend as much, if not more. And if you don't win, you're out the door. Like, what's happening at Chelsea, in your opinion, bro?
I think Chelsea's situation is bigger than just this season. Towards the end of last season, of course, they had problems with the ownership and everything that was going on behind the scenes there. And you saw it with Chelsea's performances. It wasn't as great towards the end of last season. And then when you go to this season, I think it's been a bit over dramatic by the media at times in terms of how bad they're saying that Chelsea are playing. Chelsea are only 5th off the top of the league, and it's still early in the season, so they haven't been that bad for them to be not that far off the top. So for me, I think Todd Bowley just didn't believe in him from the start, but then it just shows how much you need someone who knows about football, because we've seen it with clubs like Manchester United, for example. I know it's different type of examples, but you got owners that are very good businessmen, but they don't understand the game of football. So if Todd Bowley didn't believe in Tuchel, he should have had the guts to sack him at the start of the season rather than 4 or 5 games in, which for me doesn't make any sense. Yesterday, they did look lost, and I do understand the concerns that Chelsea fans have had, but Aubameyang, that just came in, that he knows about Thomas Tuchel inside out from Dortmund days, he didn't give the opportunity under him. So for me, it just doesn't make sense. Fofana just came in as well. They've had a few new signings. The window just closed literally less than a week ago. And we're talking about a manager that's won the Champions League for this club and has been sacked. It's bigger than a manager. The next step, of course, they were going to joke about managers, and I can't wait for that in a bit, and who could potentially come in. But for me, Chelsea need to have a structure in place. They need to. I don't think with Todd Boehly, I said this from the get-go as well. Todd Boehly running a football club and literally doing everything is not going to work because one, he doesn't know about football. That's not an offense. He just doesn't. He's not a football type of guy. He just bought this business. It's a good appeal to him, but he needs people that know about football to run the football club because it's been all a bit confusing from the summer till now. And now you see this sacking as well. What's his identity? Why didn't he do this before if he didn't believe in him? Because surely 6 games and being 5th of top of the league doesn't make you sack a manager. There must be something bigger than this.
Yeah, fair play to you, man. Do you know what, Dan? I blame Hassan Houghton and Southampton. You know, you're the ones who started this loss for Chelsea, man. So it's your fault. Everyone's going to be blaming Southampton somehow, bro. Do you know what I mean? So nah, man. Listen, it's a strange one, innit, Dan? It's a really strange one.
Yeah, it's. I completely agree with D. Why didn't they do it before the summer? If it's a bigger thing, you know, they've spent all that money. They're his signings as well. It's, you know, I don't think the hierarchy's picked any of these. I think they've all been down to him. You know, he wasn't happy earlier in the summer. We all know that. You know, there have been rumblings of discontent. But yeah, it's just weird timing, man. Like, it's not even just him. We've had 2 managerial sackings, and it's the 7th of September. Like, it's already been crazy. So yeah, man. I was shocked when I saw it this morning, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man, and it's a worry, Billy, innit? That you're getting like Parker and Tuchel gone already, man. I feel like the season's only just been 5 minutes in. Like, I just think that's the way it is now. Yeah. I just think that's the way football is now, bro.
Yeah, it's the baffling thing for me about this is why now? Like, why 6 games in? You know, why didn't he do it at the beginning of the season? It'd have been better for all parties involved if it was at the beginning of the season. You know, it'd have given, if it is Potter that's coming in, it'd have given him a pre-season and been able to bring his own players into Chelsea. It'd have allowed Brighton as well to focus on getting a new manager. It'd just been better for all parties involved if they'd have done it at the beginning of the season. As it happens, they've decided to spend 300 million and sack him a week after the window's closed. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. Just why now? It's very, very strange. And I think, you know, you're looking at that. I mean, it was announced this morning, wasn't it? It was just out of nowhere as well. Everyone was expecting it to either be Rodgers, maybe Gerrard as well, you know, El Sakiko on Saturday. Whichever one loses, probably loses their manager. Everyone was expecting it to be one of them two, I think, really. And then Chelsea just out of nowhere. Thomas Tuchel sacked. It's just a bit weird.
Yeah, it is a bit weird, man. And I can only think that potentially Tuchel was falling out with Todd and just said, look, I didn't want Anthony Gordon for 60 million. I know you did, but I didn't want this guy. I didn't want to be spending 80 million on a centre-back. I think we need another midfielder, whatever it be. I think there's been fallings out. And you know what? He's just said, okay, go then. And he's like, you know what? Just sack me then because, you know, I'm happy to go. That's what I honestly think has happened. And I think there's been a fallout after last night's result. And he's just thought, you know what? I'm done. I've won stuff here. I'll always be remembered as winning the Champions League here. There's not many that can say that in the world of football. And I think he'll go and get another job back in Germany now and fair play to him. But apologies to Dan and Billy in advance, but I've got to let these two go at it, man, because I think that this is going to be tasty now. Listen, Graham Potter, Maz, is the one that they want, apparently. On the list, of course, is Poch and Zidane. What's your immediate thoughts to this Graham Potter thing? You're gutted, of course, but like in reality, do you see this happening, bro?
Yeah, I mean, when you see Ornstein tweeting it, it's a bit peak in it because you know there's some truth to it, and Romano as well, which pains me to say. But no, I think it was. Look, when you've got one of the best coaches in the league, you're going to naturally attract the top clubs coming for them. Like we
get that bit in there first.
Well, no, yeah, do you know what I mean? It's true though. It's true though. We all know Graham Potter is one of the best coaches in the league.
I like him. Hands up, I like him, man.
Yeah, no one can deny that. As much as D probably breaks him inside. You know, you've got one of the best managers in the league, and of course, naturally, Chelsea are going to look around and think, right, okay, realistically, who can we get? You're not going to get Pep. You're not going to get Klopp. You're not going to get Conte. You're not going to get any of the top sort of big clubs managers. So, of course, the next best available option, someone who's proven in the Premier League, Potter, someone who gets the best out of players, Potter. Like, he ticks a lot of boxes. So, it naturally makes sense to go for Graham Potter. And of course, I know I'm not stupid. He's going to leave at some point, whether it's now, end of the season, go for England job, any other club that might be in for him. Yeah, of course, it was going to happen. I'm not going to lie. I knew it was going to happen, but then when the time comes, it hurts. You know what I mean? Because you're like, why?
Yeah.
You feel like you prick. Like,
I suppose it's a bit out of nowhere as well.
Yeah,
you've not got time
like,
to kind of process it.
Exactly, and I feel like I think we've touched on a few people have touched on it already in the past. Is that we got this project building at Brighton? Like, we're doing well. Obviously, we're 4th in the league, 5th in the league. You know, we've got
after
great. After a great start to this season. Whilst Palace are somewhere mid-table, I think. But so it's a good start for us, and it's frustrating to see, like, potentially, because let's be real. Again, I'm not dumb. If Poch were to leave today, we're fucked. We're genuinely fucked. We would be near the bottom. Like, it's facts. So, you know, I'm a realist. I get it. Like, he's done so much for the club, and he brings so much out of those players. Some of those players are bang average, and he makes them play, you know, great football. So yeah, it's just one of those, man. It's a tough one. It hurts, but it's going to happen at some point. I just hope it's not now. If somehow there's some inkling of hope that he stays until the end of the season, that'd be amazing. But the money, the Champions League football, the ilk of players, the quality of players Chelsea have, there's just a lot of there's just a lot of points for Graham Potter to be like, well, look, maybe I won't get another chance. You know, will this be the only big job that comes along this season? You know, he might look at it that way. So yeah, there's a lot of pros for Potter to go, and it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's one of those things.
He's not the only one, man. Graham Potter, Poch, and Zidane. Like, what's your actual thoughts, man? I know what you want to happen. What do you see happening, bro?
I'm just short for Brighton, and honestly, I mean, it couldn't have happened to a better club, one of the best clubs run in the country. I'm just thinking about, you know, Graham Potter leaving. It upsets me. I've been thinking about it the whole day, and I just hope it doesn't happen, you know, for Brighton's sake, because he's as Matt said, he's one of the better managers in the country. And you know what's going to happen next? Roy Hodgson, Sam Allardyce. I don't know in the relegation battle. I don't know who they're gonna bring in. But look, out all them lot, I would have. It's still Graham Potter for me over Poch and Zidane. It's going to sound crazy, but yes, it is him, because he's something that is refreshing. Look, as a Palace fan, looking at Brighton, we can laugh about it, but he has done bits for them. And the last 3 years or so that he's been there, he's actually made them a force that they can't be reckoned with. One, they're playing good football. Second of all, they've got good ambitions. And third of all, they're selling good players, and they're still managing to get the results. They had a nice bit of plan with Graham Potter. So for me, Graham Potter has done it at the lower level for a small club like Brighton. So for now, he just has to step up to a real team like Chelsea and maybe, you know, do it there, because I don't like, honestly, there's so much you could do with Brighton. But to be fair, Dan, a lot of Brighton fans also support Chelsea, so it won't upset everyone. So I think this is the best. Graham Potter's at the right club. You got Chelsea, Brighton fans that will be happy about this. Let it happen. Let the guy leave the South Coast, man. He deserves something better, even though Brighton are massive.
I love this. This just shows how small and irrelevant Palace are. they're getting gassed about our manager leaving. That's beautiful.
Well, you know why we're getting gassed? You know why we're getting gassed? It's not your manager leaving. It's because you are finished. Brighton are finished. You're going back to the old Brighton. The only reason you've been relevant for last how many years or so is Graham Potter. When people talk about Brighton, they don't talk about Danny Welbeck or McAllister or whatever. Yeah, some people do, but it's Graham Potter. He's the most relevant thing at your club, 100%. And he's going.
Yeah, okay, cool. But let's just bring it back to the beginning of the season when Kukurea left and Basuma left. What was everyone saying then? We're finished, yeah? Everyone was saying that.
Oh, yeah, but you still got Graham Potter. You still had Graham Potter.
Cool.
So I think many people
also
knew that Graham Potter.
I think you got to remember as well, though. We got Tony Bloom, one of the best owners in the league. Facts. He's got our club well oiled. Like Dan Ashworth left, we still signed great players, and the structure was still there. Of course, if we lose Potter, that's a different story. We don't know; it's an unknown. We don't know what kind of territory that brings. But historically, Tony Bloom, when he's been in charge, no matter what happens, things go wrong. Players, we lose big players. We lose Dan Ashworth, who's integral to our recruitment, to the behind-the-scenes running of the club. It's proven time and time again that Tony Bloom's come clutch. And then for me, the big thing is Tony Bloom loves the club. He's a childhood Brighton fan, and I think that's the key difference when you see these American owners coming in and the ones that don't care. I mean, who owns Palace? I don't even know. Who's your owner?
There's a few people that own Palace. Steve Parish runs it though. Steve Parish runs it. Who's a Palace fan.
Oh, Steve Parish.
Steve
okay,
Parish.
cool.
Yeah, Steve
okay,
Parish.
That's good. Okay, that's good.
But you have to remember, it's not Tony Bloom, by the way. You're talking about Tony Bloom being this magical guy. Dan Ashworth left, and you got bang average players that's going to be found out now. And the only reason they haven't been found out is due to Graham Potter. When Graham Potter leaves, we're going to see all of them players are going to be finished. They're bang out. Like, trust me, Graham Potter made them better than they should be.
No,
And that's it. It's not Tony Bloom. Unless Tony Bloom is stepping on the pitch and showing a bit of skills, which I don't think he's going to be doing. No one's going to. Tony Bloom ain't going to be saving you. Tony Bloom ain't going to be saving you. And I'm telling you, the new manager that you bring in, no, it's not going to be Graham Potter level, because you can't replace him.
Why can't we bring another Graham Potter?
Okay, so who's going to be? Okay, so who do you reckon will come in if he was to leave? Do you know?
I don't have the answer to that. I don't have the answer to that. However,
who do you want, Maz? Who do you want?
Sean Dyche. Come on.
Sean Dyche. No way. I don't want to be playing Route 1 football, man. Going from Graham Potter's magic ball to fucking Sean Dyche punting the ball up to bloody. We don't even have to talk to Danny Welbeck. That'll literally be it. It'll be Route 1 football to Danny Welbeck, and bloody hell, that'll be a nightmare to watch. No, but do you know what it is?
You're so scared. You postponed the game, Maz. You postponed the game today. Brighton postponed the Palace. No, exactly. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but Brighton actually postponed the Palace game after this news. Go and check it out. Go look. If you don't believe it, it wasn't because of this news. In 2 weeks' time, they postponed it. How much of a football club do you have to be to lose your manager, postpone a game? How shook do you have to be? You know you're finished. You're finished.
Do one Google search and you'll see the reason is not because Graham Potter is leaving the club. It's because there's train strikes. How are you meant to get home, bro? How are you meant to get home?
I'll walk up to the 5-0. I'll walk home. I don't care. I'll walk for the next 5 hours. I'm happy. I can get home. Trust me. Don't worry about that. You keep the game on.
Okay.
And trust me. Wait, hold up. Everyone else here supports different clubs. When have you heard a game be postponed due to train strikes? Like when? When has that actually happened? I've never heard that in the Premier. I've heard like COVID. I've heard like various different stuff.
But listen, our stadium is in the middle of nowhere. What do you want us to do? Are you going to order an Uber with 30,000 people? What are you going to do?
Yeah, we're getting there. I'm not bothered.
You're mental. You're mental.
We'll get there. Don't try to act like.
All right, order an Uber from Amex in the middle of nowhere in Falmouth to get back to Crystal Palace.
You lot already shook that you're cancelling games. You're cancelling big matches. I've never seen this before. You lot are finished.
Anyway, back to the subject. Graham Potter. To answer your question, Dan, who do I want to see bring in? I don't actually know. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know who is an ideal replacement. I think though, with the history and the previous of Tony Bloom, I'm confident that he will bring in a manager that can. Maybe he won't emulate Potter. I think what Potter's done has been, special. He's like Dee said, he's brought a very average squad to play really good football and achieve some mad results. I'm not denying that. That's Graham Potter has been incredible for us and he's class. However, I feel like with what we've done in the past and how we've recovered from certain situations, from losing big players, from losing very influential people at board level, we've shown before that we can survive and we can thrive. So why not again? That's my
listen. Big up Pete, by the way. Cheers for joining, bro. I know you've been busy, man. Listen, I want to bring you in on this because obviously we're talking about Chelsea and Potter and what's happening in the breaking news, man. But one thing I do agree with Maz on, not just the fact that I think Graham Potter is one of the best in the league. I do, facts. I think what he's done is a madness. But their recruitment's been really good, man. Like they've had some wicked players come through. That ain't gonna change. So what they do need, though, is a manager that can come in and play not just a style that wins, but a style that attacks and that's attractive as well. Because you can't go from what Potter's done to a Sam Allardyce or a Sean Dyche, in my opinion. That might keep you up, but I as much as D wants to see it, I don't think Brighton are in a relegation zone without Graham Potter, right? So I think, look at these shaking his head. I don't think they are.
You're gonna see the real Brighton in a few weeks' time, and I can't wait for it. Because remember when we made this prediction like a few weeks ago about who's gonna finish above, who's gonna finish higher, Palace or Brighton? I can't wait for it. When Brighton are fighting relegation battles. And
the way D goes on there, you'd think Palace are like some Champions League chasing. What is going on, D, bro?
No.
I've never seen so much delusion in a Palace.
You talked about being in the top 4 after 6 games, like you're going to finish in the top 4.
Who said that?
You're already going to be set to. No, No, you talked
Who said
about.
top
You
four?
mentioned it earlier. You talked about finishing top four. Like we've had a good start. It's only six games.
I
It's only
don't think I ever mentioned top four, to be fair. But
You
Europa
said you're
Conference
fourth right
League,
now.
man. Europa Conference League. You told me.
Conference League,
Europa
Conference League, 100%. Conference League, I definitely said that before, yeah. But not top four. Come on, top four, top six.
More
is
like
unrealistic.
championship. Where are you getting Conference League for? Look at these players. Hold on. Look at Danny Welbeck, Adam Lallana. You got Lewis Dunk, who scores more own goals than in the other side. You just got bang average players.
I love how you
Bang
stopped.
average.
Conveniently, you just stopped there. What about McAllister? what about Trossard? You literally
It's fine.
Brighton's hand off.
That's Graham Potter. That's getting the best out of them. Once he's gone, when Sam Allardyce is there, trust me, then Trossard and all of them players, they're not going to be great. And I'm telling you now, Tony Bloom ain't going to be saving you lot there as well. Because Dan Ashworth is gone. Graham Potter's gone. Brighton Football Club, it's over. You've had your fun. Welcome back to reality. That's all I have to say. What a thing.
Hey, Dan, have you placed D as a troll? Is he like some kind of... is this a real... I don't
He's like, I just throw D in as a bomb, and I know it's going to go off some point.
I think he's a paid actor. I'm not sure. I think I've seen him on maybe Emmerdale or EastEnders or something before. I'm not too sure.
Hey, we're talking about actors. You got a lot of divers in your team. Trust me, there's a lot of actors in Brighton, so you will know a few things about actors in your team. Trust me.
Love it, man. Anyway, as I was saying, Pete, welcome to the show, man. What is your thoughts before we try and break these two up? What's your thoughts on the whole Potter thing, man? Can you see it happening to Chelsea or what, bro?
Well, to be fair, as soon as he Thomas Tuchel got sacked, he was the first name that I thought. And I was kind of glad because I thought they were going to go a different way. I'm glad Eddie Howe's name wasn't in there. I've got to be honest. I'm glad that Potter is the guy that's going. And
you thought they go Eddie Howe?
No, I didn't think they would, but I'm glad his name wasn't mentioned because I'm more than happy with what he's doing with us. I think he'll do a good job at Chelsea. I do. I think that it's probably the right time for him to go and make his next step, which is why I think there's a lot of talk that it's already close to being concluded and he's more than happy to go there. And I think he knows it's probably the best time for him to make that step. Brighton have got good foundations, though. You've just mentioned it. They've got good foundations. Obviously, certain elements of what Dan Ashworth has laid. I think David Weir has taken over that role. Am I right, Maz?
Yeah.
He's already in place there. So he'll know the ropes anyway in terms of that recruitment side. The only issue I have is what you've just been talking about is who are Brighton going to replace him with? Because, the stuff that Graham Potter was producing at Brighton and the style of football that they were playing, that's not easy to replace. And the recruitment was based on that style of football. And so it can quite easily go wrong with the wrong appointment. Now, it's whether Brighton go one of two ways. Do they go back down to the Championship, if I'm right in thinking they plucked him from Swansea and brought him to Brighton from there? Did they go that route again and try and get a good young new manager to come in and continue that? Or do you then think, you know what, we want to continue what we're doing now. We want it instant and you pay a little bit more and you go a little bit more and you branch a little bit more out there and you go maybe European and get that in, but it's not always filled with success. So they're in a balancing act right now on where they go and what they do next will determine in what direction Brighton go in, because they've been on the rise. They've been doing really well, and it's whether that will continue. I'm sure, Dee's already celebrating. He thinks it's the demise. He thinks it's over. But, who's to say that they can't go out there and attract maybe a higher caliber of manager without being too...
Who on earth, Pete, come on, realistically, who on earth wants to go to Brighton?
Well, this is the thing.
You telling me, who in the right mind is going to, a manager that's established, going to go down to Brighton to manage Brighton? Why wouldn't you? Brighton to manage them? Why wouldn't you? What? You want to... Why would you want to
give me the cons. Give me the cons.
Why would you want to manage bang average players?
I can't deal with this guy, man.
No, but why? Man, tell me what. Let's say I'm a manager that's established, that's proven.
I thought this would be a nice, relaxing relaxing podcast. I've had a long day at work. I've been editing. I've been doing all my stuff, and I come and listen to D.
I've been waiting for this the whole day. I've been waiting for this for the whole day. How can I?
D. Okay, let's be okay. Put your Palace Spice aside, because I feel like that really does blink you a lot. So with regards to Brighton as a club right now, right here, right now. Okay, what are the pros and what are the cons of joining Brighton right now?
There's lots of cons, but I'm trying to think of positive.
Which are what?
So,
which are what?
The cons are that you don't really sell out games. Like there's lots of empty seats at Brighton. Another con is that you sold your better players in the summer, so you haven't got that good of players. I think the players that you brought in are good, but under Graham Potter, I think other than Graham Potter, they're just going to be bang average. And there isn't many other things to talk about really about I don't think your squad is that great. Maybe you got a good owner that loves his football club. That's all great. I mean, other clubs have that as well. It's not something majorly special. But apart from that, really, what are the pros about Brighton? Why, if I'm an established manager, why on earth am I going down to Brighton to manage Brighton? Like, come on. Like, realistically, come on. Before Graham Potter, who were Brighton? Nobody.
But you still haven't given me a valid reason yet. It's just been waffle. Selling out seats.
No, I said it. Your squad ain't great. Your squad ain't great. For me, your squad ain't great.
Jason is big up you, by the way. D's chatting shit. That is true. Right, listen.
Your squad ain't great. Your squad ain't great.
All you've said is we've got an average squad, which is potentially. I'll sort of give you maybe a little bit, and that we don't sell out seats. Like, I don't understand what a coherent argument that is to why
you're not a big club. That's what I'm trying to get at. You've got an average squad. You're not a big club. I don't know why you would join Brighton as a manager. So go and explain why you sell me. You sell me Brighton. Let's say I'm a big manager. Sell Brighton to me. Why on earth would I come to Brighton?
Okay, well we're currently fifth in the Premier League. That's not
going to happen for much longer. That's he's
okay, but we're talking about right now, though. Right now, right?
Okay, all right.
Okay, cool. So we're fifth in the league. We're playing very attractive football. We've got some fantastic players. We've got Trossard, McAllister. We've got Lewis Dunk. Adam Webster's linked with Chelsea. Sanchez in goal, who's Spain's number one. So we've got some very good players. We've got Tony Bloom, is a fantastic owner, and like you said, is very passionate about his club and knows what he's doing. And then what else? We're going in the right direction.
You're talking about Trossard.
We've been in the Premier League for 5 years.
Come on, Maz. You're talking about Trossard like Trossard. If I'm a big manager, if I'm a big manager, are you telling me? If I'm a big manager, are you telling me? Hold up, you got Lewis Dunk and Trossard in your team. I'm going to join Brighton. Who's Lewis Dunk and Trossard for me to join Brighton for them? They're nobodies.
What kind of manager are you talking about? What ilk of manager are we talking about here? Are we talking Zidane?
I'm talking about. Forget about Zidane. I mean,
I'm asking you to clarify what you mean.
I think a level below Zidane. A level below,
which is
Pochettino. Yeah, you can say.
Okay.
I mean, exactly. Why would
of course
Poch actually go?
No, I agree with you. Why would he go from managing PSG and Spurs and all these big clubs to go and manage Brighton? Of course, that doesn't make any sense. But like, for example, Brendan Rodgers, for example, which I wouldn't want, to be honest. But let's say Brendan Rodgers, I don't see why we couldn't attract Brendan Rodgers to the club. Like that's not out of that's not unrealistic to think like that. But of course, Zidane, Pochettino, all these, tier A managers, of course, we're never going to attract them. But I don't think we want to because in the past, we've had managers that have come from sort of nothing, so to speak, like a Potter who's come from Ostersund's to Swansea to manage Brighton. I think that's our model. That's the way we want to go. We don't want those A-tier because I don't think
that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't think you're getting. I don't think that Brighton are attracted. Like, if I'm a big manager, there's no way I'm going to Brighton.
I agree with you. No, but we're not talking about the Zidanes and the Pochettinos. Of course, it's an unrealistic target. Like, that's like me trying to get a date with Margot Robbie. It's never going to happen. As much as I want it to happen.
You can do it, man. Believe in yourself. You can do it. You can believe in yourself.
My girlfriend's in the other room. My girlfriend's in the other room. I got
sorry.
It's all right. She's in there.
I'm gonna get you in trouble today.
It's all good. No, but like on a serious one, realistically, we know our level, and I personally would love to see another manager that's sort of again, I don't have names, so I can't pluck names out of the air. But
Brendan Rodgers, I think, is realistic. I think that's I think Brendan Rodgers is the most realistic that you get. I don't see who's better than Brendan Rodgers. That there might be a manager that we don't know about, like Graham Potter when he came to Brighton. But if we talk about managers that we know about, I think the most realistic one is Brendan Rodgers. I don't see you doing better than Brendan Rodgers, in all honesty.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't want Brendan Rodgers. I don't know. I feel like Yeah, I'm not sure about Brendan Rodgers, but yeah, I would love to see ideally maybe like, do you know, like a again, not
Gus
Jesse
Poyet.
March, but like, you know, Gus Poyet, yeah, he's been there, done that. But now, do you know, like a Jesse March where he went like Salzburg, done his bits in like Germany, and then you know sort of proven his worth over there, and then sort of transitioned over to the Premier League. I'd like to see a same sort of path, maybe like a young successful manager in maybe Germany or even like, you know, Sweden or wherever previously that's done well, who's really like one of those up and coming kind of managers. I'd love to see that.
I mean, Leipzig sacked their manager today, mate. So
lovely.
Is Marco Rose?
Is
Marco Rose managing? Is Marco Rose managing at the moment? That'd be a good shot.
Yeah, and
Marco Rose at Dortmund and Gladbach, money.
Who's the one we got linked with someone as well today? I can't remember his name now.
Sam Allardyce.
Hey, we got from Graham Potter to Sean Dyche and bloody Sam Allardyce. That'd be a nightmare.
Bielsa. Someone in the chat said Marcelo Bielsa. That's another one who ain't got a job. Wow.
Yeah.
But no, we're in a world of trouble. If Potter leaves, we're in a world of trouble. But I've got faith in Bloom to sort it out.
Fair play, man. Maz, before you go, because I know you got to shoot, just want to quickly touch, because I'm going to get the other guys' opinions on this VAR stuff this weekend, because, man, it was a madness, bro. Like, I watched the Brighton-Leicester game before the Arsenal-Man United game. I was over in Old Trafford watching it before, and I saw an absolute screamer of a goal, but I had no volume because we were outside drinking. So I was like, wow, everyone went nuts when McAllister, wasn't it, put it top bins, and I'm like, wow, absolutely sick. Then it all goes a little bit wrong, and I'm thinking, what's happening now? Of course, they're looking at VAR. I don't understand what the hell is supposed to have happened there. The guy doesn't touch it. It's some madness. Like, if I'm McAllister, like, if I'm Brighton, I'm pissed off, but I'm even more pissed off if I'm McAllister, man. That's an absolute worldie of a strike. Just been chalked off for what seems to be a really harsh decision. So not just the Brighton one. I want to talk as a group now, because there's no point going individually into everyone's weekend results. I think we need to talk about this VAR seriously, mate. There is some mad decisions this weekend. The West Ham one for me is the worst I've seen in a long time with Bowen. I saw the soft free kick that probably was a free kick, to be fair, on Ødegaard and Eriksson, but that was soft, man, really soft. Why is that one given that the Leicester Brighton one wasn't? For me, that's mad. They actually score from that as well, obviously. Tielemans, and then in Inacho, we see Newcastle and Palace. What the hell was going on there, man? Someone pushes Willock, basically cannons him into the keeper, and then he's supposed to have fouled him. Like, I've seen some mad decisions, bro. And this VAR thing for the last 3 years has been one of the most controversial periods of football I've ever seen. And I just want it scrapped now, man, because it's not the VAR that don't work. Yeah, a computer system works. These officials are shocking, mate. And it's an understatement how shocking they are, bro. So I want your opinion before you go, bro.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the people using it. It's simple as that. It's not the technology. I've said it before. The technology is absolutely fine. It's great. It's a perfect piece of technology. It's just not being used. And also as well, we saw, was it yesterday in the Champions League? They had the 3D renders for the offside decision. I don't know if you guys saw that. Why is that? Why are we not got that? Like, why is that not being used in the Premier League? I don't get why. Because then that will eliminate the whole lines, and like, you know, one person's finger is past the other person's toe. Like, it's just crazy. Like the little intricacies. And I feel like, I get it. We got a book of rules, set out by the FA about the Football Association, and I get it. There's a set of rules that we have to abide to. However, there's sometimes where you got to take into account just common sense. Like, there's sometimes common sense isn't brought into it enough, I feel like, because they're going, oh yeah, by the letter of the law, this has happened. But then you have these professional footballers who actually played the game. I've never played a professional game of football, but you've got professional footballers who played the game week in, week out, saying, oh yeah, like, in my opinion, that was never, that should not be the way we should look at offsides, or that should not have been a foul, etc., etc. So I feel like, as much as we need the rules set in stone and in black and white, at the same time, can we not have ex-professionals on the referee panel, or VAR sitting, have one professional ex-pro alongside the referees for them to then be able to talk about it and actually explain it. And then final thing for me is have that line of communication with fans so they know what's going on. I've said it, I think last week or the week before, have some kind of communication with fans so we know what's going on. We're sat there thinking, why has McAllister's goal been disallowed? There's no reason. And apparently it was an attempt to play the ball, but he hasn't touched the ball. So again, it's like, oh, but the rules are this, and then it's not communicated, and we're just left there like, what's going on? And as fans, that's why we get frustrated, and that's why we all want it gone, because there's no communication, nothing's really set out and explained properly. It's just too many things that are, not good with it that people get frustrated about, and that's what. Yeah, I think that's what everyone's pissed off
100,
about.
man. 100. I can't agree with you more, bro. Listen, I know you got to shoot. Thanks for coming on.
What-
Next week when you go on, bro.
One last thing before I put my parting thing about Potter. I know Pete said it. He mentioned about him doing a good job at Chelsea. I actually got to disagree. I feel like I feel like at Chelsea it's going to be a completely different machine. It's a different prospect altogether. He's going to have to go to a team full of high profile players.
Mazzy's one of the best coaches in the league. You told me.
No, he is.
Interesting, Dan.
It's completely different. It's a completely different environment. It's different players, different structure. I don't think they've got a director of football. He's going to have to deal with Todd Bowley, the crazy American. I think it's a very, very different structure and a very different environment to what he's used to. And we saw what's his face at Spurs. What's his name from Wolves? Keep forgetting his name.
Nuno.
Come on.
Nuno.
He's not a good manager. He's not even a good manager though.
Okay, but he went from Wolves that had a good few seasons, and he was touted as he's good coach and good manager.
There's different pressures, 100%. There's different pressures.
I just felt like, anyway, I had to get that out of my system because I'm hurt right now, as you can tell.
Just wants to go right. Do you know what? I'm going to lose him, but he's going to be crap anyway.
Yeah, I didn't want him anyway. It's like that ex, you know what I mean?
Let him go.
It's like that ex. He was butters anyway. Nah, but it's a tough one.
Maz, you're top lad as ever, man. And next week when you come back on, we might have an understanding of where Potter is. He's either going to be staying or going. So let's watch his space, man. And big up yourself, mate. Make sure you get yourselves over to Seagull Social and follow Maz and all of his content. And we'll see you next week, bro. Take it easy, Maz.
Appreciate you all.
Take care, Maz, man. I'm just
See you later, Maz. Have a good day,
mate. You're a joke, man. You're a joke, man. In a bit.
In a bit, Maz. Listen, I'm going to come to Dan and Billy and then let Pete and D fight this VAR stuff out between Palace and Newcastle. That was a madness, absolute madness. He's ready to take his first pair of boxing gloves off. Now he's getting his second pair on. You know what I mean? So that's going to be a fun one in a minute. But listen, Billy and Dan, let's come to you on this VAR thing, man, because I was going to do a separate podcast on it, but I thought we might as well just incorporate it into this because I can't lie, man. I'm fuming with it. And it wasn't just the Arsenal thing, because that was, for me, a foul anyway. But the decisions I saw were mad, Dan. Like, absolute mad. So I don't know what we do next with this. I think something has to happen. What? I really don't know, man. So I want to get your thoughts on it, bro.
I'm still fuming about the McTominay handball against us. And that was 2 weeks ago almost now. There's been so many decisions already. And it's like, the thing I say when we talk about VAR, the system of VAR isn't new to sport. They call it different things in whatever, and it works in other sports. It's only football where it's controversial. You've got tennis, you've got hockey, they have referrals. This is what I was saying, I can't remember to who, but over the weekend after the Brighton one, it was the Brighton one that really got to me this weekend, because you watch all the Leicester players, when you watch it back, none of them are complaining. They've just got their shoulders slumped. They've accepted they've conceded a goal, right? And then it's VAR who've gone and been like, oh, let's just check it. If the opposing team haven't complained, why are you bothering? So this is what I'm saying. Any sort of referral system where a team gets a certain amount per game, is like 1, and they say, okay, we think this is wrong. Like, let's say there's a handball, like they're complaining about a handball in the area. They're complaining about a foul in the build-up, like with the Man U Arsenal one. I think that's acceptable when they go and check it. There is absolutely no reason for VAR to have gone and checked that Brighton goal.
Listen, I can't agree more with what you're saying, bro. And it's not just this decision. It's not just weekends. We've seen weeks of this now. We've seen years of it now. And Billy, when this was brought in or was rumored to be brought in, I said I didn't want it. And everybody disagreed with me and said, what technology has got to be used? I said, yeah, if technology is used like goal line technology is, where it's black and white, I'm all for it. Yeah, because it either goes over the line or it doesn't go over the line. When the rules are so grey and you're trying to use technology to try and make them black or white, I don't think that's possible in football. And I think there's so much controversy within the rules. There's so much difference of opinion within fans, within referees, within officials. I just don't think VAR should ever have been brought in. And I would rather now have 2 linesmen, a 4th official and a referee making those decisions than these absolute idiots that are in Stockley Park making these crazy decisions that are getting in the referee's ears, trying to re-referee the game that's already been refereed. I can't understand for the life of me why they're needed. Now, it might work if you got rid of Stockley Park and just had a replay for the referee to look at his decision to see whether he made the right one or not, and not have anybody in his ears saying, "Do you reckon you did that wrong, mate? I reckon you did. So does he. He reckons maybe what could have happened was." I don't want any of that nonsense. Why do they need that crap? Just go over to the make a decision and then say, "Do you know what? I'm going to give a penalty, but I'm going to go and check it and make sure that it's right, and I'm going to re-look at it again and then make that decision." Why have they got to have all these people involved, all these incompetent people, by the way, chatting in people's ears, talking about, "Oh, this has happened, this has not happened"? For me, I'd rather it just be old school now, Bill, and go back to basics, bro, because it's ruining the sport for me, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, to be honest with you. I mean, I suppose I kind of still am a little bit of an advocate for VAR. I don't think it's going to go anytime soon. It's here to stay, I think. But it's the incompetent, useless referees that are still coming up with these decisions, and it's those people involved that are ruining the sport for all of us, because it's here to stay. VAR as a whole, as a technology, is fantastic, but it's these, I mean, you put it perfectly, they're inept beings that are just constantly coming up with these wrong decisions. We're all sat here, all the pundits are sat at home or on our tellies like they always are. Everyone can see that week in, week out, these decisions are wrong. When are we going to say, hang on, we need to take a step back here? Everyone can see that week in, week out, we're coming up with these wrong decisions. What can we do to stop it? And you've got Mike Dean, who retired last year. Where's he gone? Oh, straight back into a job behind the scenes. And it gets to a point where, all right, yeah, this Mike Riley or whoever it is behind the scenes is coming up with all sorts. And now you've got Howard Webb, who was arguably very corrupt in his time with his ongoings with Man United, with Sir Alex and whatever. And now he's just got another job as well. Like we're giving jobs back to the inept beings that are referees. And we're not going to get anywhere because they're each other's mates. They don't want to. I'm not going to throw you under the bus. You're not going to throw me under the bus. Let's just get along how we are. And it's got to a point now where you've got managers, you've got us pundits, fans just watching, and we've all had enough. The players, everyone, we've just had enough of it. And it's just not getting us anywhere. I can understand it if a referee makes a decision or makes a mistake during the game. That's fine. Everyone makes mistakes. We all make mistakes. But when they're making the correct decisions first off, and then they're getting their mate in their ear saying, "Oh, I think you need to have a look at this again," and then they're ultimately overturning the correct decision into the wrong decision, that's when you've got to be asking questions. And it's every week, man. It's relentless, and it's just, it does my head in. It really does my head in. And you've got to ask, like, this weekend was the prime example. Like, surely I don't want to come across as the one that mentions the conspiracy theories or anything like that, but I mean, this weekend's a prime example of something that must be going on behind the scenes, surely. It's just horrendous.
It is horrendous, man. It really is, and it's costing people points. Pete, good segue. What the hell happened at the weekend, man? Talk to me.
Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, we got screwed out of 2 points. That's basically what it is. We were the better team, created the better chances. Probably should have scored with Isaac early on, but we scored a perfectly good goal. Albeit it was an own goal, it was a goal and would have been enough, in my opinion, to win the game. So how they managed to get to that decision, I have no idea. You could argue that it's either the goal stands or it's a penalty our way, because you basically,
they're the only two options.
Yeah, some people may argue that it wasn't necessarily a penalty, but he's pushed him. Without the push, who's to say he doesn't get on the end of that and puts it in the net himself? It's throwing him off balance. And it just baffles me how they've managed to get to that decision. And the frustrating thing about it is, and this goes back to my point about VAR, is that actually the ref gave the right decision. He gave the goal. And it's VAR that have intervened and told him, no, it's not. And it was the wrong decision. So the ref actually made the right decision in terms of giving it a goal. He stopped because 2 players were down. Joe Willett was getting treatment, as was the Palace keeper as well. So he'd already pointed. It was a goal. And the VAR have come in. And this is the problem, is that I don't believe there's any good ref in the Premier League at the moment. You could even argue any referee that referees using VAR is not a good referee, because they are basically being controlled by VAR now. VAR are the ones making the decisions, and ultimately what it's done since VAR has come in, it's basically affected the judgment, the quality judgment that used to be there from some referees. That's now gone. They are too afraid and incapable of making their own decision, because what's happening now is decisions are being made not just in the game against Newcastle and Palace or Chelsea West Ham, in loads of other games. Is it decisions are happening or incidences are happening, and the refs going, okay, VAR, bail me out of here. What do I do? And they're using the screen to make that decision. And that is not what a ref's about. A ref should have quality judgment of what's going on the pitch. And they're being influenced now by, like you said, Stockley Park, that are 200 odd miles away from the actual game that's happening at that point in time. It's not good enough. And, you know, I'm not saying we should get rid of VAR, but we need to strip it back to its basics in terms of, right at the beginning, when VAR came in, it said it was brought in to ensure that the right decisions were being made. And secondly, it was brought in to stop the controversy in games, and in particular big games, and neither are happening. And actually it's the complete opposite for both. Decisions are getting made that are wrong, as we saw at the weekend on more than one occasion. And secondly, the controversy is continuing every single week. It was to stop those conversations in the Sky Studios or Match of the Day or whoever it is, BT Sport, to stop those controversial conversations that are happening and discussing about what's happening. And it seems like that's all we're doing now, is discussing all these controversial decisions that are being made by a computer that should be getting it right. So what we need to do is stop micromanaging every single decision. It seems like every goal now is being micromanaged, and that wasn't the agreement at the beginning. It was only if there was a slight complaint that there was a wrong decision being made. No Palace defender, like the Leicester players that was talked about earlier, complained about that ball hitting the back of the net. So therefore, there was nothing to look back at. You know, offsides, fair enough. The odd goal incident, if there was a 50-50 that it might not be a goal for whatever reason, yes, have a look. But not every single goal, not every single big decision like that or big incident like that needs to be looked at. And stripping it back to its basics and just allowing the refs, for the vast majority, the 80-90% of the game, to make the decision as the ref on the pitch. Now, I also think the linesmen need to do more. Even before VAR, linesmen see a lot of what goes on the pitch and don't communicate it. I think they need to be doing more. So give the power back to the referees and the linesmen that are on the pitch, and then VAR comes in when the ref asks for the VAR to come in, when they're not 100% sure, not just every incident and every time.
Do you know what, though, P? I think Billy will disagree with that after the linesman getting involved in a Coutinho goal the other day, which, by the way, shouldn't have been blown anyway, even if you thought it was offside or not, because they're not supposed to do that anymore, apparently. So now we're seeing them blowing the whistle for a goal that was not offside, by the way, and was a hell of a finish. And people might say, oh, but if he hadn't blown, the keeper would have done better. Listen, that was a hell of a banger for me, and I think that Villa, West Ham, Newcastle have all been mugged off this weekend. And to be fair, so have Brighton. So we're seeing 4 or 5 teams now losing points and being beaten up by, let's be honest, the officials. And when you say, Pete, and I'll bring this one to D before Billy comes in about Coutinho, clear and obvious are the 2 words that are always used. Clear and obvious. why the hell are they going over to stuff that isn't clear and obvious mistakes? Because what they're doing is making clear and obvious mistakes by trying to get involved. That's what I think they're doing. So maybe that was why they brought in clear and obvious, so that they could make the mistakes and call them clear and obvious. It's shocking. It's so bad, man. But D, I want to get your take on it, because obviously you'll hold that and take that and say fair play because Palace ain't got the L. But when you look at it, man, it's bad. It's just so bad, bro. Like, this clear and obvious thing has got to be sorted out, because I'm seeing every goal, like Pete says, none of us are able to celebrate. I was celebrating in Old Trafford going mad when Martinelli scored. Then it gets pulled back and I'm thinking, what actually happened? I didn't see anything live. Now, whether you think that's a foul or not, it's still not great when the fan base is celebrating a goal going crazy, which is, let's be honest, what we pay a lot of money to do, and it's being taken away from us. It's mad, bro.
Yeah, look, there's two things that I want to bring up on. Firstly, I don't agree with if the players don't see it, that we shouldn't call it back, because VAR is there to see the mistakes that the referee doesn't see. For example, in that game, yes, you can debate. In a Newcastle game, the players didn't see it, but then again, Newcastle players, I've seen a few of them that went up to them, but I don't think the players exactly know what's going on at all times. That's why VAR is there, to overlook at things. And secondly, we blame the officials a lot, but with the rules, there are some mistakes in it in itself. With the offside rule, that needs to change ASAP, because there's so many minimal offside calls that are being called back up on, where in honesty, the offside rule was just created so people don't goal hang. Someone's toenail being in front of another defender and him go through a goal, it's not going to give a player a real advantage. So the minimal offside calls that we're seeing, the marginal ones that we're seeing, they shouldn't be called upon. I mean, football isn't that tight. Like, we shouldn't be that tight with the rules. So for me, the offside rule needs to change. My thoughts with VAR, there's nothing wrong with the technology. I think as I said, there's a combination of just the rules itself. They're wrong. The officials, they don't believe in themselves. And the positive out of this weekend from VAR was actually Michael Oliver. I believe was in a Forest versus Bournemouth game. He went to VAR. He saw they called it for handball, and he said, VAR, you're wrong. What we need to see is more officials go to VAR and stand up for themselves. I haven't seen that. That Michael Oliver incident, when he actually said no to VAR, was actually the first time that I've seen it ever. I don't remember seeing an official go up to a board and say, VAR, you're wrong. So what needs to change is officials need to just stick up for themselves. You're the official. Yes, it might have touched his hand, or yes, there might have been a push. But do you believe that that's the right call? VAR is there for the screen. You can see the replays. Now, in a Newcastle game, the official should have went up there and should have said, well, yes, all right, there was a push there. But for me, I don't think it warrants, the goal being called off, because that you could argue they should have had a penalty then. But officials are not doing that. So the technology in itself is fine. There's nothing, apart from maybe the offside rules, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And I still want VAR to be here, because, yes, we're talking about this weekend, but it's also, let's be honest, there's been so many moments for our football clubs where it's benefited us. It works both ways. And this weekend, it was just crazy in itself. But the officials, how VAR improves is by the officials saying, no, VAR, you're wrong. And until that happens, people will talk about, corruption, etc. I don't think it's gone to that wavelength. I don't think VAR is there due to corruption or anything like that. But until that happens, until the referees stick up for themselves, we're going to have loads of these conversations. Because in a Chelsea game, if the referee said, no, you're wrong. In a Newcastle game, if the referee said, you're wrong, there's nothing wrong with VAR. We're going to be sitting here saying they made the right calls. So it's all on the referees to actually make the right calls. And they haven't been doing that. They're just too friendly and lovey with these VAR officials in Stockley Park, which I don't understand. You need to move friendship apart when millions of pounds are involved and it's a massive business. Like, you can't be supporting each other like that. VAR, you showed it, but the referee, you have to make the decision. And till this day, I've seen it once over the weekend. I don't see way more enough of that. I know that if the official goes to the screen, it's going to be whatever VAR wants. And that in itself is wrong.
Yeah, 100, man. I think that's a great point as well, bro. Listen, before we come to a close, I want to look at some predictions on the weekend's games, because obviously they're coming thick and fast, man. I can't believe that I've decided to do these midweek, and half the time people are still playing football. It's crazy, isn't it? But it's good. Of course, it's good. Pete, West Ham, Newcastle, am I right?
Yeah.
What do you think, bro?
Well, yeah, it's West Ham away, so at the Olympic Stadium. West Ham's form isn't great, although you could argue they probably should have got some points on the board against Chelsea. But it's going to be an interesting one. I think for us, it's going to be whether the big boys are back, whether we have Bruno back, whether we have Alan St-Maximin back, whether Wilson's back. Eddie Howe's keeping his cards very close to his chest this week in terms of whether they're going to be back or not. So there might be a couple of surprises. I think if Bruno's back in the team, if we have Bruno and ASM back in the team, I think we've got as good a chance as any of getting something there. You know, with a patched up side, we got a point there last season and probably could have and should have won the game. I think it's going to be the talk of the game is going to be the Bruno Lucas Paqueta sort of battle. They're best mates, both playing the Brazil squad, both played at Lyon. Newcastle fans wanted him to come to Newcastle, so that's going to be a big talking point. But I do believe that if those boys are back, I think we can win the game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you can. And I don't think West Ham are looking absolutely superb. Lawless will tell you that they are, but trust me, I don't think West Ham are that great, man. Let's see what happens. Fair play to you. Billy, Leicester, man. Come on, Billy. You have to beat Leicester, man. I can't lie. Leicester are losing to everybody, bro. So you've got to beat these guys. Gerrard's got to be looking at this. He saved himself a little bit at City, bro, because you played well. But listen, man, this has got to be 3 points for Aston Villa, mate.
Definitely. You know, the biggest thing about the City game was how much effort we put in. We just looked as if we wanted to at least put up some kind of fight. You know, it's always going to be hard against Man City, and we matched them. They dominated the ball. They had all their chances like they do, but Emi Martinez came up strong when he needed to. So the biggest thing for me now is we just cannot allow that performance and the result to go to waste. We've got to build on this now, and we've got to get 3 points against Leicester. You know, it's so important for the rest of our season, for Gerrard himself, because if we don't and we go and lose, or even if we get a draw, questions need to be asked about Steven Gerrard. They're already asked. That the result and the performance against Man City, you know, he's started to turn people back on him. You know, I'm a big believer after that game. You know, so we just have to take that momentum with us into this Leicester game, and we have to get 3 points. We have to. We cannot come away with less than 3 points, and if we do, it'll just be so gutting after that Man City performance.
100%, man. 100%.
So yeah, I don't want to give a prediction as to whether we will win or not, but I certainly think we can do, and I just hope we do as well. You know, we've got to take that performance and that momentum against City into Leicester. We've got to. There's just put that nail in Brendan Rodgers' coffin. just put that. Just hammer it down. I
think you will, man.
Just get
Send it to Brighton. Yeah. Yeah,
I think you will, man. I think you'll do it. I think you will. Leicester are just looking all over the place for me, so I think you'll do it. Dan, you got Brentford, man. You're gonna have to try and keep Ivan Toney quiet, bro. I'll tell you that now, because he's getting in this England side at the moment, along with Abraham and Kane for me as the free strikers. This guy looks sick at the moment, so you got to try and keep him quiet, man. Are you confident, bro?
I'm confident we'll get something. Is whether we can get, because really we need to win this one. We've got Villa away afterwards, and this is kind of our period where we need to be picking up points. They've scored 15 goals. You know, not enough people have been talking about Brentford for me. I think they've been ace, but that has also been at home where they've been particularly good. I think for us, we've been great at home in 2.5 of the 3 games we've played. You know, we played Man United, kind of, you know, we competed with them and played Chelsea off the park. From my perspective, you know, I think after Sterling scored, we didn't look like conceding and we could have scored more. So it's just which Saints show up, because we didn't look like we would score in away at Wolves. So you know what, I'm gonna back. I think there'll be goals in this. I'm gonna back us as well. I'm kind of in a weird way. I'm feeling quietly confident. I think we can edge it 2-1.
Fair play, man. I hope it is a good game, and I expect it to be. I've been quite impressed with some of your youngsters, man, and some of your new signings, Dan. I can't lie. That guy at the back looks bloody good. I can't
Yeah,
pronounce his
Var
name, but he looks.
but this is the thing. It's like when's the first clean sheet coming in? It's not going to come against Brentford.
Listen, they're a good side, man, and they're on form at the moment, and I think they deserve a lot of plaudits actually. Because some of my mates thought they'd be going down as a second season syndrome, but I didn't think they would. I just think the way they've been playing has been really, really good, man. To finish off, D. Do me a favor, please, bro.
Yeah.
Please shut these Mancs up, man. They've been giving it to me all weekend. Apparently, Ten Hag is the next Sir Alex Ferguson. They're back in the title race. Rashford's going to score 25 goals. Arsenal are in the mud. Just go bully them like you do normally, teams at your fortress of a ground. Patrick Vieira's a gooner. Do us a favor, man, please. What's your thoughts, man?
Look, I wish we could do a favor. I think we're going to be up for this game. That's the main positive. Like, it's a cliche thing to say, but Selhurst Park is going to be sold out, and plus we're looking at our games. We've had some very difficult games that people don't really talk about. We've had Liverpool, we've had Newcastle, we've had Manchester City, we've had Arsenal. And within the first 6 games, I don't know if it can get more difficult than that. Like, we faced literally the top 3 sides in the country already, and now we've got Manchester United. But looking at United at home, look, I understand, Man United they've bounced back from their first 2 games, and I believe in Ten Hag, Dan. I'll be honest with you. I don't know about next Sir Alex Ferguson, but I believe that in the long run he will be that man for them, and I think he's going to be the difference maker because he makes some big calls for them. Big calls that other managers haven't made about, like Maguire and Ronaldo, that has worked positively for him. So in this game, look, they're going to be up for it. They've just beaten you guys, of course, at home. But the only positive that I'm getting from it, or hope that I'm really getting from it, is yes, we're at Selhurst Park, and we know that we're going to turn up for this game because Manchester United at home. But they've got a game on Thursday night as well. So I don't know if fatigue will play a part. We'll see their squad depth. We'll see how much Ten Hag believes in the players. I think that's going to be another key factor that many people are not talking about going into this game. They've got a Thursday night game. Of course, they had that game against Arsenal as well over the weekend. Lots of adrenaline, lots of momentum. Teams do struggle normally. When the Thursday and the Sunday, you've seen it with Leicester in the past as well. Of course, this is Manchester United, so they should be able to deal with it. But I've got hope. I think, Dan, maybe a point. I'm not overly confident. But not because of what we can bring to the table. I think we will bring something to the table, but because of Manchester United's form right now, just that adrenaline rush into them, it can go 2 ways. I think it could just crash down again on Sunday especially if they don't have a fast start and we just keep it tight and compact, and then they get forced into mistakes. Or they could be well up for it. They could say, we beat them. We won our game on Sunday, won our game on Thursday. Let's go to Selhurst Park. Let's beat them. But I think Palace will turn up. I 100% believe in our players and our fans as well. It can be a hard ground to go to. Lots of people have been Selhurst Park in the past, and it's not like the easiest place to go to. So yeah, Sunday games on TV. Palace will be up for it. We need to pick up points. We were frustrated last time we was at Selhurst Park because we drew 1-1 with Brentford, and we should have beaten them. When you look at the way that the game went. But yeah, this is the game that we beat them 1-0 last season. This season, let's see what happens. I'll take a point, but of course, who wouldn't want to win?
Of course, man. I think you'll take a point, and that's what I think it'll be, man. I fancy you to get a point there. I think your fans will make it hard. I think Zaha will do what he always does against United, turn into prime Henry, and I think he'll cause them problems, man. I really do. I really hope you do, man. I haven't had a good weekend, man. I haven't had a good weekend. I'll tell you that now.
Trust me, I won't have a good weekend as well. I know a lot of Man United, and even though it's Crystal Palace, they'll start giving it as well. So trust me, we're both on the same side for this weekend. I don't blame you.
Listen, man, I hope you do it. Boys, listen, big up all of you, man, for coming on. Absolute legends. And Maz as well, obviously, earlier on. If you haven't seen it already, you better go back and watch D and Maz going at it because it was good banter and good fun. Popcorn time for sure. Guys, make sure you go and follow these guys, man. At AV Billy on Total Screamers podcast, at Dan J. Hargraves. Get into the Back of the Nest podcast and go and listen to more of D from Crystal Palace, and go over to Pete at Dave's 2010 and listen to the Loaded Mag podcast as well. Make sure you do that, please, guys. And also hit a like on this video on the way out. I'm 300 or just under away from 5k. Please come and help, guys. Smash the subscribe button. It's absolutely free. I want to get to 5k if I can as quickly as possible, and your help will do that. Thank you all so much, guys. We will be back next week for more content talking about the Premier League games over the weekend, and we will see you then. Take care, guys.